You're inside the Mom Stuff Coffee Shop, a podcast dedicated to helping you get back up again, turning your pain into power, turning your trauma into triumph. I am your host, KK Smith, and I find joy in helping you get back up again. This podcast holds a space for you to grow, heal, and connect like you never have before. So grab your coffee and step inside the Mom Stuff Coffee Shop. Hi friends, thank you for joining me today inside the Mom Stuff Coffee Shop. So today we're going to talk about something to sip on. So these are going to be solo shows where I give you food for your soul and fuel for your life. And I'm so glad that you're here inside the Mom Stuff Coffee Shop today. So I wanted to talk to you today about our amazing series on addictions. So our series has covered sexual addictions, relationships, energy, healing, and some of the addictions that children struggle with. And next week, we're going to cover the food addiction. Oh my goodness, friends, am I a foodie? So I wanted to talk about how do we get into addictions? The main thought I want you to walk away with today is something that I talk to my kids about all the time. Whether I'm in a conversation with my friends, my sister, my children, I always talk about the weakest link. So let me describe what I'm talking about. So when I was little, we would all go outside and play tug of war. It would be my sisters, the neighborhood kids, sometimes our cousins if we were in town. And the object of tug of war, if you all haven't played it before, is to get the other team to come over to your side and they will all fall. And in unison, the other team had bragging rights or the other team might be laughing. How did you get the other team on the ground? How did you get the other team, your opponent, in a position to just tumble and fall? Well, sometimes on these teams, the strength was not there. The strength was just simply not there. Some teams had these children that were really strong, and other teams, although the kids looked strong, they really weren't. And I was usually one of the smallest kids. When I would get picked, I would try my hardest. But friends, to be honest with you, I was actually pretty weak. I was small. I was adventurous, but I was the smallest one often out there. And I was very weak. Now, what I thought about is when we're playing tug of war, you have to have the strongest people on the outside because those are the positions of your foundation. Sometimes you can have strong people on the inside, but it's those people that are on the outside that will make or break a team. You could grab the rope and put it around your waist. You could do anything to anchor your team. But what if you had the weakest link as your foundation? And that's what I want to talk about today. Just like in the game of tug of war, in life, we don't need the weakest link at our foundations. And I often talk about having the weakest part of ourselves to run our entire lives. This is really something to sip on because oftentimes there's strength in different areas of life. You might be very organized. You might be on time. You might be a person to pay your bills on time, but you wonder, why are things always falling apart? There might be a weak link. And this weak link is directly related to sometimes addictions. Now, we look at addictions as the big, broad things like smoking, drinking, gambling, anything that you can see. But what about the things that you cannot see? Like gossiping, being condescending on purpose, being a hateful person on purpose. Those two, friends, are addictions. Those are addictions of the ego. The ego is propelling us in some way, form, or fashion to diminish, to shame, to talk about. These are serious addictions that can make the entire house fall. If we think of ourselves in terms of a home and you're standing on a strong foundation, what is your foundation made of? Is it made of integrity? Is it made of love? Is it made of self-care and self-support? Because sometimes we could be searching for all the right people to support us, all the right people to call us at those moments of weakness, all the right people to say, keep going. But oftentimes the foundation is cracked because we're searching outside of ourselves, and therefore there's a weak link on the inside. Whatever our weakest link is, I think we have an obligation to our soul to locate it, be honest with ourselves, so that we might strengthen this weak link. This weak link can also become obsolete. It can become the strongest building block for our authentic lives. Because if we dare to uncover what is the weakest link here, why do I keep getting into this? What keeps happening in life? Why don't I feel as strong as I need to be? Well, friends, as I stated earlier in this show, I have an obligation to my soul and my faith. Now, God and faith is a very personal relationship. Having a center, returning to a center, not only gives you strength, but it gives you peace. It gives your soul peace, serenity, hope, because you're standing on a strong foundation. And my foundation has been God since I've been a little girl. And when I return to that quiet place, that serenity, that surety on the inside, I realize that I can be strong in my weakness. So as always, I wanted to give you some tools to move through any type of addiction. These tools are going to help you tremendously. These are some things that I researched and I wanted to share them with you. And I'm also going to give you some resources at the end of this, something to sip on, so you can connect with someone if you're really struggling with any type of addiction. The first tool I wanted to give you is to start exercising. Start moving your body. If you're not moving your body, start with just a half a mile walk, 1 mile walk. This brings all types of energy into the body, awareness. It will bring your mindset into synergy with your thoughts, with your actions, with being aware of what am I doing? What am I creating for myself? Exercise is a powerful tool to bring our awareness into focus. And it's good for the heart and mind and circulation. The next thing I want to share with you is to locate patterns. Addictions can be triggered by a feeling, a place, a memory, or even a smell. So the next time you feel like you want to launch into any type of addiction, any type of addictive behavior where you're being ran by the weakest link. And you know when those times are. They're different for everyone. Find the patterns. At what times are you sinking into an addiction? Who are you around? What are your triggers? What causes you to go back to the weakest link? The next tool I'll give you is to keep a log. Write down the different triggers that you're having and at which time. So first you're going to find the patterns, and then you're going to immediately write them down. And then you would have located exactly where the weak links are. If you failed, I want you to look back on this time as a resolve for accountability. Have a deep conversation with yourself and realize that you can get back on track. A lot of times when we're trying to face addictions or we're trying to learn lessons in life, we simply give up because we think we failed tremendously and we think we cannot get back up again. Well, that's what failure is all about. It's all about assessing what happened, locating the triggers or locating those failures, and having deep, honest conversation with ourselves on how can we execute a plan the next time to not get ourselves involved with the weakest link. The next tool is find a supportive network of people. I was having a conversation earlier today, and I was telling someone a vivid illustration of how when people bring us their stuff, people could be bringing us some really heavy stuff, things that they're dealing with. Oftentimes, we will listen only to respond. We're really not listening. We're just trying to get the next thing out that we're saying. I encourage you to find a supportive network of people that wants to listen to your story. Whether this is a family, a friend, a sister, a cousin, a coworker, someone that's authentic and you can trust, or a group of people that you can trust. Find that supportive network that's always going to encourage you, that's always going to help you to keep moving and keep growing without shame, without harshness, but with love and honest support. The next tool I'm going to give you is to be aware of your thoughts in the moment. So there's the moment before the thing occurs, and there's the moment the thing occurs, and then there's the moment after. So I would encourage you to be myopically focused on the thoughts that you have leading up to the moment that you're about to fall into the weakest link. This is going to bring so much awareness in your mind you won't believe. And at that moment, at that gap, you can ask yourself, what am I about to do here? This is a great tool, not only for accountability, but also for exponential growth. A lot of times we measure growth with things or money, but growth is really exponential when it's internal. And when you're able to get to your next level and to be aware, hey, I was aware and I didn't do the thing. I did not become the weakest link. That's growth. The last tool that I wanted to share with you is to try to hold yourself accountable without any judgment or anxiety. Because if you have both of these, judgment and anxiety, and you fail, this might bring you right back to the weakest link. This might bring you right back into the addictive behavior. So if you did fail, you did the thing, you became the person of addiction, you became the weakest link. Don't judge yourself and don't have too much anxiety. Forgive yourself, because forgiveness allows tenacity. Forgiveness allows you to get up and try it again. Oftentimes, if we're parenting a child and they feel like it was okay if they failed, they have the tools to keep going. But what if a parent is harsh, critical, angry, shameful? That child does not have an opportunity to get it wrong and grow. That child has not accepted themselves as simply human, and we all are human. So be light on yourself, but also be accountable. So friends, I wanted to share a couple of resources with you. And one of the resources I want to share is a national help hotline. It is the SAMHSA, confidential free help from public health agencies to find substance use treatment and information. The number is 1-800-662-4357. Again, this is a national helpline. The number is 1-800-662-4357. There's another hotline that I wanted you to be aware of. That's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and that number is 1-800-273-TALK. Again, 1-800-273-TALK, which is 8255. They have crisis workers that are available 24 hours a day. The calls are free and confidential. The next one is Food Addictions Anonymous, and you can contact them by going to FAA.com. Again, that's FAA.com. So friends, I hope today's episode was food for your soul and fuel for your life. Please rate, share, subscribe to this podcast on any platform. I am your host, KK Smith, and remember, you can always celebrate wins and get back up again inside the Mom Stuff Coffee Shop.